Alright, I guess we're just gonna... We're just gonna try it. The arrange mode. I haven't actually beaten it. So, yeah. There it is. Why is my hair...
Get ready.
Oh. Using the camera is not the way to fix your hair. Especially when it's running at 10 frames a second. Like, it's intentional. My appearance on camera right now, I've been experimenting with some settings to try to make it look more like I am on an old full motion video file, like from a Sega CD game or old PC game or 3DO, what have you. It's definitely not all there. I'm gonna be messing with some plugins to OBS to try to get the desired effect, because the stock program just doesn't have enough things to fiddle with to properly replicate that effect. The low frame rate and desaturation only goes so far. I think the desaturation can only replicate some of that, like, dithering. And also, specifically, like, on Sega CD, you know, that has to work around the, what is it, 64 color limit? And I think there's a pixel limit. What is it, 356 by 200 something, I forget, but probably not going to worry about the pixel limit, because I want to be able to... Probably still going to run at, like, what is it, 640 by 480 for my camera resolution. I've run it higher, but typically the camera occupies a small enough portion of my presentation that I don't need to bother pushing the resolution that high. It just eats up more CPU that I'd rather use for the game. Oh my gosh, my voice is so scratchy. Even more than usual. Oh my gosh. Like, on my best day, I can come, like, halfway to sounding like maybe Katharine Hepburn or something. Like, you know, nowhere near as, like, classy or nice, but today is not a good day. I probably sound more like, probably sound closer to, like, a Hagraven and Skyrim. I don't know. I couldn't think of a better example, but... and here I'm talking about anything but OutRun. I was supposed to spend like 10 to 15 seconds explaining, oh my gosh, oh, it kicked me to the other route, that's mean. I guess it doesn't matter, but... So I don't know if that's something... I've never encountered that in other versions of OutRun. I don't know if that's specific to this version. Or if in other versions, I've maybe just never happened to have hit traffic at a very specific part of the interchange of routes. Gosh, it's like, I do like this version of OutRun, the 2500 Sega Ages version, but I just can't sing its praises. As highly as, well, pretty much any other version of OutRun. I mean, I'm sure when we're talking like super old, like Amiga or Commodore versions, we're probably talking way jankier and less playable, but Alright, we'll try again. I'm surprised I even got that much of a score. But the problem is, like, I don't know why the peeps doing the 3D Ages version, I don't know why they put the car into the middle of the screen like that. Because otherwise, the camera isn't any different. But especially when you're on a hill, like, the car ends up blocking way too much of your view. Like, if it stayed right where it just was, when you're going uphill, doable, but like, it legitimately becomes almost impossible to tell what kind of traffic's ahead of you when you're going downhill. That's a problem. And even sometimes just on flat terrain, like, depending on exactly what's going on, sometimes you can still have your view obscured. So that's just a weird decision. And of course the car looks weird. It's not quite a Testarossa. It doesn't really look like any Ferrari specifically that I'm familiar with. It's just kind of like a... It's like a 60 to 70% of the way there to something we're more familiar with. And then the other thing, I think the collision, there's just something slightly wonkier about the hit detection in this versus the Super Scalers or OutRun 2. I don't know if it's because, I don't know what engine this is running on, because it almost feels like the same engine as the Super Scaler arcade OutRun. So I don't know if it's that, with like the bones of that with 3D polygon models rolled on top of it. I don't know if that would even work. So maybe there's like an early 2000s Super Scaler engine with 3D integration. That was probably a horrible way of describing, but like, it mostly does feel like OutRun. It's just like, it's almost like the collision is still trying to work as if the other cars were sprite based, but they're polygon models. I don't know. Like, someone who knows some more about this game's code could probably, like, explain better. Maybe there's just some jank to the collision that has nothing to do with what I just tried to describe, but it's just like something that would be a near miss in the sprite-based game ends up being a collision with the 3D models. So that's just where I'm going with that. It's not as forgiving. that was the shorter way I could have said that. So, like, you can, like, once you've got a feel for it, you can really finesse some pretty close calls in the Super Scaler. But credit where it's due, like, the game still mostly feels good. The music's really good. You know, it's yet another, like, alternative arranged version of the songs, but it still sounds awesome. And also, I do appreciate that, you know, the game's not 100% trying to rely on 3D assets. Like, we've still got some sprite work and some pretty sweet, fast scaling. Like, it's pretty cool to see the PS2 do this. Like, I know, like, the 3D obsession was at its peak during that time, but it would have been cool to see more PS2 games, and you know, also GameCube and original Xbox for that matter, to see what they could have done with sprite scaling. Because the thing is, nowadays, like, you know, today's machines are so powerful that, you know, sprite manipulation is nothing. But on the flip side, like, pretty much anyone trying to make that style of game is going to use, like, just do it in software. Which, I mean, I guess with a powerful enough computer, it doesn't matter. Like, you'll still perform blazing fast, but it's really cool when it's running hardware. And not having to utilize any emulation when it's running natively. So. But I also do appreciate, like, this is a budget title. You know, the reason why it's called Sega Ages 2500 is because these releases were sold for 2,500 yen. So they were made on a limited budget, and considering that, like, this is pretty good. Like, we got some new arranged music, and they could have just released the arcade courses with the updated graphics and sound and called it a day, but, you know, we've got these new stages, so that's pretty cool. So, and with the rivals and everything, it's almost like this got to be like a stepping stone toward OutRun 2, so I kind of call this OutRun 1.5, because it does deliver another take on the original experience, but then adds some stuff that's kind of like OutRun 2, but still kind of occupies its own place, and takes you to places that neither the original nor OutRun 2 take you to. Like this. It's pretty sweet. So, despite my complaints with the design of the car and where the camera's positioned relative to the car, or I guess car relative to the camera, I should say. Definitely, I think this is worth checking out for fans of OutRun. Or anybody, I guess people nowadays, they don't even bother with the term superscaler, they just call them, like, pretty much any game of this style, like sprite-based, like Cannonball Rally or whatever, but sweet, we did it. I only had to retry once. So, oh, he got the double kiss. Lucky him. And you know, this doesn't look as nice as the 2D, the gorgeous 2D map, but it's still got a charm. It still adds something to the OutRun universe, if you will. So. Pretty cool. Yu Suzuki, of course. Oh, it was Sims that did this, okay. Yeah, Sims does. Well, I don't know if they're still around. I should have looked that up, but they did some really good work in the 90s. Like maybe if this had a bigger budget and wasn't pushed out so fast, because this came out right at the time. I think this was before Sega merged with Sammy. This was like 2003, early 2004, I think. So, you know, the Dreamcast, outside of Japan, was pretty much all done in 2001, and Sega was scrambling to get third-party releases out the door. So, you know, these 2500 games could have been Dreamcast games. I think they would have been really good Dreamcast games. But anyway, there we go. That was OutRun 2500, the arranged course. Of course, you know, you could also have taken the right path, the middle, or you could try to zigzag around. So, you know, that has a lot of variation in of itself. So, again, definitely worth trying. Like, I wouldn't put this version of OutRun anywhere near the quality of OutRun 2, or the arcade OutRun 1, or Sega Saturn OutRun 1, but still pretty good, pretty worth checking out. So, thanks for watching. Hope you found my experiment with the camera entertaining and not too distracting. But thank you. I'll see you in the next episode.